Have you ever noticed how people who get too close to Diddy just happen to meet their end? Hollywood insiders to hip-hop artists, the stories of individuals who tried to speak out against Diddy are bizarrely similar. Either they vanished or were silenced. So let's get straight into it. Brittany Murphy. Brittany Murphy's sudden in 2009 had everyone scratching their heads. She was just 32, and the bizarre circumstances led to some of the most outrageous conspiracy theories. Reporters said she died of pneumonia and anemia, but yeah, the internet was having none of it. And funny enough, her almost exactly mirrored that of Kim Porter. Yep, that Kim Porter, Diddy's ex. And trust me, the rabbit hole gets deeper, like in much deeper. And here's where things get really interesting and messy at the same time. Both Brittany and Kim had ties to Hollywood elites and personal trainers who worked with Diddy. And both women were gatekeeping certain industry secrets. Brittany especially had secret connections with people working in the music and entertainment industry. According to some sources, she had witnessed things she wasn't supposed to. Her seemed bizarre enough on its own, and just when you think that's bad, 5 months later, her husband, Simon Monjack, also dies in the same house under the same circumstances. Yeah, acute pneumonia.
People around Diddy seem to be unalived by pneumonia as young, thriving people. I know way more about this than I probably should because I loved the woman, but she passed away in 2009 from pneumonia and anemia because that's normal at 32, right? She also had the same coroner as Whitney Houston, Paul Walker, Tom Petty, Michael Jackson, and Kim Porter, who is his ex. And when asked to reopen her case, he suddenly passed away too. Brittany got married to this guy who was never good enough.
In case you didn't catch that last bit or just went, what the F when you heard it, the guy who did Britney's autopsy, Ed Winter, was also the coroner for Michael Jackson, Paul Walker, Kim Porter, and Whitney Houston. And that's important because we're getting to Whitney next. But yes, all the above mentioned names have some conspiracy around how they died. And apparently, when the coroner was asked to re-examine Britney's cause of death, guess what happened to him? You guessed it, he died. Of natural causes, no less. Fishy much? So was Brittany just another unfortunate casualty of Hollywood, or was she taken out before she could spill some secrets? Whitney Houston. A legend, a queen, and someone whose death in 2012 still doesn't sit right with fans. But what does Diddy have to do with it? Well, according to several people in the know, there seems to be a connection between Diddy, big shot record producer Clive Davis, R&B singer Ray J, and the strange circumstances surrounding Whitney's death. And let's not forget, these three guys go way back. But here's what another big shot producer, Choke No Joke, had to say. And seriously guys, this ain't no joke.
Now with the Whitney Houston thing, I believe allegedly Ray J had something to do with Whitney Houston, and whether he gave her the bad package, you know, him being there in the last moments of her death, her being the boost, you know, me seeing him with Clive Davis the night before Whitney died, which was weird to me because he didn't have no relationship or Clive Davis like that back then, to be hanging with Clive Davis at a Grammy rehearsal, and then the next day Whitney got killed.
But once again, the rabbit hole goes a whole lot deeper. Just when you thought that was insane, celebrity personality Jaguar Wright goes one step further. Without shame, she puts the blame square at Ray J's feet.
Next thing you know, she's dead. Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the drug dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the drug dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Looking back now, in hindsight, this next clip gives all kinds of chills, and not in a good way. Here's Ray J on Extra TV the night before Whitney died.
Before we get into the new book, though, I want to get a little rumor out of the way that I heard. You've been seen around town with Whitney Houston. Now, I know the rumors back in the day that y'all were hanging out. Well, what's the deal right now?
We hang, you know, it's Grammy weekend, and she's in town, and we had dinner, and, you know, she's such an icon to where it reaches the masses. But, you know, we had a good time, we had dinner, that's it.
But was that really it? And get this, the plot thickens, or should I say thickens, because after Diddy's arrest and all the accusations against him, guess who's the one dude who's still sticking up for the diddler? None other than Ray J.
Diddy was my friend, not was. What do you do? What do you do when you've never been in the room? What do you do when you've never seen all this shit that people are talking about? Do you believe it? Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So should I fall back and wait? Should I be a voice of reason now?
And here's another fun little fact for you, just to show how twisted this whole whole thing really was. Clive Davis threw his annual Grammy party at the Beverly Hilton while Whitney's body was still in the building. Like, what?
You were, I think, going to go to the Clive Davis party.
Yes.
It was a surreal event where Whitney's body was still in the hotel, and there was this sort of party where apparently half the room were in tears, the other half were kind of partying. What did you feel about that?
I thought that was complete insanity.
A music icon just died, and instead of canceling the party, they just kept the champagne flowing?
Why did you let the party go on?
Of course, this is a personal thing, but the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
Tupac Shakur. Tupac's murder in 1996 is still one of the biggest unsolved cases in hip-hop history. He was shot in a drive-by in Las Vegas on September 7 and passed away 6 days later. But recently, things took a wild turn when former gang leader Dwayne Keefe D. Davis got arrested. And guess who Keefe D. claims was behind the hit? Yep, Diddy. According to him, Diddy offered $1 million to have Tupac taken out, and this has brought back old rumors about him being involved in Tupac's death.
After Pac got killed, Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed T.K. Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The feds said that too.
He said that shit actually happened.
But there seems to be some actual truth to the whole thing. Derek Parker, a former NYPD detective who arrested Diddy in 1999, also thinks Diddy may have been involved.
No, there's some truth to it. You know, listen, I've talked to several. Listen, I was one of the first detectives out there on that shooting, on his homicide. There was always this indication that Puffy paid or had money put up with another individual who's dead, named Zip.
And as if things weren't already messy enough, Ashley Parham, one of Diddy's accusers who made some pretty shocking claims about the music mogul, came forward saying Diddy actually bragged about ordering the hit on Tupac. Ashley alleged that the confession happened after Diddy essayed her with a TV remote.
She says she believed that Diddy had something to do with the of Tupac Shakur and said as much. Allegedly, Diddy warned her that she would pay for saying something like that.
Biggie Smalls. March 9, 1997, the night hip-hop changed forever. Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G., was down in Los Angeles. He was on his way to London the next day, but his decision to attend a party hosted by Vibe magazine changed his fate. But here's where things get suspicious. Biggie had been planning to leave Bad Boy Records, and if he would have done so, that could have been devastating for Diddy. And let's not forget, Diddy was right there that night before Biggie left the party. Now, I'm not saying he had something to do with it, but let's just say, if you're in a room full of people and someone gets mysteriously eliminated and you're the only one who benefits, well, people might start asking questions. And one guy who is saying Diddy had something to do with it is once again choke no joke.
This is what I think ultimately why Big got killed, because he was robbing Puff.
Was Biggie's murder really just about East Coast versus West Coast beef, or was there something going on between him and Diddy? Uncle Ron. Uncle Ron was an industry insider with inside knowledge of what went on in Diddy's hidden world, and when he spoke out, he revealed some shocking secrets.
A lot of stuff was tried to be swept under the rug, and unfortunately they saw things, so it's gonna all come forward. Even had the personal call to find out, hey man, how can we sweep this under the rug? We can't sweep it under the rug, man.
In a deleted TikTok video, Uncle Ron went public, accusing Diddy and Jay-Z of being involved in Biggie Smalls' demise. According to him, Diddy didn't just benefit from Biggie's death, he planned it in such a way that the whole setup seemed like an accident. He claimed he had evidence and refused to back down from his statements.
Jay-Z and Puffy wanted Biggie killed. Bottom line, you don't have to believe me, believe the facts. Here's a man that wanted to leave Bad Boy. He wanted to do his own thing. He mentioned several times how he was tired of being used in abuse, that he was bigger than Bad Boy itself.
24 hours after making these accusations, he was found dead. The official cause of death was not publicly disclosed. Some reports say it was due to natural causes, while others claim it was not a normal casualty. Either way, he was just another guy who was willing to expose the truth about Diddy and didn't live long enough to tell the full story. Was it just bad timing, or was Uncle Ron silenced before he could reveal everything he knew? It's up to you to decide. But what we do know is that Uncle Ron wasn't the only industry insider to go through this. Kim Porter. Now, if any woman knew Diddy's deepest, darkest secrets, it was Kim Porter. She was his longtime partner, the mother of 3 of his kids, and someone who had been in his life for decades. But in 2018, Kim was found dead in her home. The official cause of her death was pneumonia. Sounds suspiciously like Brittany Murphy and her husband, right? And from the moment the news came out, people weren't convinced.
Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms.
And guess what? Soon after Kim passed away, Al B. Sure, father of Kim Porter's eldest son, revealed that Kim was preparing to expose Diddy. But before she could, she was gone.
What did you see him do with Kim Porter?
I seen him inside the car, grab her up. I seen him smack her, you know. And one thing about Kim is Kim got to the point where she fought back.
Kim had been in great health before her sudden illness. Some sources say she was in good spirits, making plans for the future, and showed no signs of being sick. Yet within days, she was found dead. And then there's Diddy's reaction. At first, he posted a tribute, calling her his soulmate. But behind the scenes, sources revealed Kim became a silent threat for him. She knew something she wasn't supposed to. And strangely enough, Kim isn't the only woman who paid the price for knowing Diddy's hidden secrets.
I know I pissed a lot of people off, including you. Songs on their own, and then they collaboed. Do these people call you wanting back in?
G-Dep's in jail.
Right.
And Luna's in jail.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Wendy Williams. You know who else wasn't afraid to speak on Diddy? Wendy Williams was one of the few media personalities to call Diddy out. Long before the internet was flooded with rumors about him, Wendy was already hinting at the industry secrets people were afraid to discuss. Back in the early 2000s, she questioned Diddy's relationships with his artists, his alleged control over the industry, and even his personal life. She asked real questions that made him uncomfortable, and surprise, surprise, Diddy wasn't having it. According to his former bodyguard, Diddy blacklisted Wendy from the industry.
Got one of the hottest DJs off of Hot 97 because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down.
And if that wasn't enough, he allegedly had a hand in getting her fired from Hot 97. But Wendy kept pushing. However, her career took a different turn. After decades of being the queen of daytime talk, she started facing health issues. Graves' disease, thyroid issues, and addiction struggles were all cited as reasons for her downfall. But some people believe there's more to her story. Not only was she removed from the Wendy Williams show, but she was also put under financial guardianship, stripped of control over her own money. A woman who once spoke freely about industry elites was now barely able to speak at all. She was silenced before she could expose these hidden antics. But the good part? Wendy is still alive. Fonzworth Bentley. You remember him, right? Diddy's umbrella guy? But let's be real, he was way more than just the dude keeping Diddy dry. Fonzworth Bentley had access to Diddy's inner circle, his private parties, and his biggest secrets. But fast forward to today, and where is he? The man practically vanished from the scene. Now, some people say he just moved on, living his quiet life. But others? Yeah, they're raising their eyebrows. Freddie P., who you might remember from Diddy's Making the Band days, was out here spilling some interesting tea. Freddie mentioned that he thinks Diddy likes men. He also said that knowing what we allegedly know about Diddy makes him see Bentley in a different way.
Puffy, of course. I think everybody around him gay. And I think you don't get to stay up around him unless you've proven that either you're with the or the don't bother you.
Now, Bentley's social media is like a ghost town, and the rare times he does post, fans can't stop wondering, does he know something? Is he keeping quiet for a reason? Or did he realize that sometimes it's safer to just walk away? But Bentley isn't the only one who faded into the background. Andre Harrell and Heavy D. Andre Harrell wasn't just a music mogul, he was the man who gave Diddy his first big break. He founded Uptown Records and put young Sean Combs on the map. But then, he fired him. Guess he got tired of the ego. And then in 2020, Harrell suddenly passed away. Official cause? Heart failure. But here's the thing, there weren't any major health issues before that. Sounds familiar, right? Because the same thing happened with Heavy D. In 2011, he collapsed outside his Beverly Hills home, and later doctors reported he had a blood clot in his lung. But there's something fishy here, because Jaguar Wright pointed out that all the survivors of Diddy's record label were busy writing tell-all books before taking their last breath.
Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma.
Two major figures from the same era, both gone too soon. Now, some people call it the Uptown Records curse, while others think these men knew too much and paid the ultimate price. And speaking of people who knew too much, let's talk about a certain Def Jam executive, Shakir Stewart. Shakir was the man responsible for signing some of the biggest names in hip-hop like Jeezy and Rick Ross. He had the golden touch, and by 2008, he had climbed to one of the most powerful spots in hip-hop, executive vice president at Def Jam. But just months after landing one of the most powerful jobs in the industry, Shakir took his own life.
Shakir didn't himself. Shakir didn't himself. That's all I got to say on that.
According to reports, Stewart took his own life at his home in Atlanta. But if you knew Shakir, things didn't make sense. This was a guy with a growing career, a family, and a future brighter than Diddy's diamond chains. So why would he suddenly decide to take his own life? Well, word on the street is he knew too much about Diddy, about deals that were supposed to stay in the shadows. And when you start making moves that step on the wrong toes, yeah, things can get really dangerous.
Now, unfortunately, L.A. Reid is in Atlanta tonight paying his last respects to Shakir Stewart, whose recent tragic took away one of the lights of our world.
Of course, no one could ever prove a direct link between Diddy and Stewart's death, but the similarities are hard to ignore. Another young, successful black executive gone under mysterious circumstances. Another untimely passing that left more questions than answers. But what do y'all think about these stories? Do you think these deaths were just unfortunate accidents? Or is there a common pattern over here? Like, say, maybe Diddy? Leave your thoughts in the comments and follow this channel for more videos.